Hello my dearest friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel, Diana and the Book Hunt. I hope you have had the best Christmas break ever, that you enjoyed the Christmas holidays, that you got all the presents that you wished for under the tree, and that you spent it with your loved ones, you had amazing food, you read amazing books, and that overall you just had a blast over the Christmas period. For myself, I have to say it was kind of a 50-50 situation because I have a little kid at home. So Christmas is a very special time for us. We love Christmas in our household, and just having this amazing emotion of the anticipation for my child. You know, we did the whole Advent calendar thing where we were counting down to Christmas Day, and he was really looking forward and was asking all these questions about the Christmas magic and what Christmas means. And he's now 6, so he's kind of getting to the point where he's really aware and asking these very curious kinds of questions. And it's very challenging for me as a parent to keep him believing in the Christmas magic and spirit, but at the same time kind of not making it seem too ludicrous. So it's it's been an amazing break when it comes to that part of the holiday, and we did have amazing food and everything. The problem for me was that both of us, my son and I, we got sick, we got the flu. So I had fever on Christmas Day and second Christmas Day. I also got an eye infection out of the whole thing, which is why I'm wearing my glasses, and I really cannot wear any makeup at the moment. So I'm going into the new year, or actually I'm departing from the old year and going into the new year, kind of channeling my inner Pamela Anderson year 2025 of kind of being makeup free and enjoying the perks of my old age and everything. So it's been a challenging couple of days, but at the same time, I got to spend them with my loved ones at home, so I really cannot complain. And I've been preparing for the 2 videos that I'm putting out in the last 2 days of the year. And this one you're going to see first. It's my most anticipated Romantasy releases of 2026. I have to say that if you're looking forward to discovering which romantasies are coming out in 2026, I would definitely encourage you, after you've watched my video, to check out Jess from Honest Fiction, her video, because she did one maybe a week ago or so. And then also April from Happily Ever April's video, because those two are really my go-to booktubers for romantasies. When I want to discover something that I haven't read yet, or want to see if a book is worth picking up within the romantasy genre, I'm going to check whether they've talked about it first, because they talk about, so April does it in a very fun way. Jess does it in a very concise way that makes me see what the plot is about, but at the same time not giving away too much. So them two, they definitely deserve all the love when it comes to how prepared they are for putting out the content when it comes to romantasy. So I'm going to actually link their videos in the description box if you want to check them out. And I'm going to talk about today the ones that really have left an impression on me, the ones that I'm looking forward to, or the ones that I've also noticed are in my audiobook library. For the ones that are coming out in January and February, I've really looked at my Storytel, what will become available to me, so that I know that I'm going to be picking them up around release time. So I'm going to start with a release that actually is coming out on the day that you're going to see this, on the 30th of December. It's We Who Will Die by Stasia Stark. So this comes out on the 30th of December. It's an adult fantasy paranormal romance, features vampires. And what I saw on Goodreads, I've tried to steer away from reading the whole synopsis, because I typically really want to be surprised when I pick up books. So I don't want to know too much about the plot, but I do want to get intrigued. So I just took away whatever I could from the blurb without going into too much detail. It says the heroine makes a pact with a vampire to kill an ancient vampire emperor. So this is intriguing to me. I'm looking forward to, this is going to be the first book within, I'm not sure whether it's going to be like a trilogy or a series of books, but I'm going to start with this one. If I like it, I may continue on. I don't know if I've read anything by Stasia Stark before. I've seen other series by this author, but if it's a new to me author, even better. So I'm going to check this out once it releases. On the same date, we've got An Arcane Inheritance by Camilla Cole. This one is a dark academia romantasy for the fans of Babel, and it's a horror mystery kind of a book. What I gather from the synopsis is that the heroine is determined to prove that she belongs to this university where the book is set. It's an Ivy League school whose history is deeply linked to occult rumors and dark secrets. And the caveat is that she has this deja vu, like she's been there before. So there is this kind of mystery going on in the book that is very intriguing. So I'm looking forward to this one as well. And then we're moving on to January releases, where we've got Isabel Ibanez. She's the author who wrote the historical kind of young adult romantasy Where the River Flows, I think was one of them. It was a duology and I really enjoyed that one. So I'm looking forward to a new release by her. But this one I think is an adult romantasy. It's called Graceless Heart. It's releasing on January 13th. It's a historical fantasy with a lush, atmospheric, achingly magical standalone adult fantasy romance that is set in Renaissance Italy. Say no more. I am the biggest fan of anything Italian, whether it's the food, the music, the architecture, just the whole country. Everything about Italy just appeals to me. So I definitely want to read this one. And then on the same date, we've got A Vow in Vengeance by Jacqueline Rodriguez. This one is a dark academia magic fantasy romance. From the blurb, I gathered that it's a sexy, action-packed, and brimming with magic romantasy book with deadly tarot card magic. And it's a debut. So this one I'm very intrigued by. I'm always on the lookout for new debut books to pick up. So this one I definitely want to check out. And that is it for the January releases. I haven't found very many that are releasing in January that I want to pick up. But if you've got any, drop them down in the comment box. In February, we've got Throne of Nightmares, which is the next release by Kerri Maniscalco. I read the other two books that were part of this kind of continuation series by Kerri Maniscalco, and I really enjoyed them. I gave both of them 4 stars. This one releases on the 10th of February, and it focuses on the Prince of Sloth. And what I saw, I just got one sentence from the blurb because I don't want to get spoiled, is a prince who prefers games of the head to those of the heart. So I really love Kerri Maniscalco's banter in the books, how those princes are kind of mysterious, they're kind of mysterious. Some of them are grumpy, some of them are more so kind of flirty, and I'm really looking forward to discover what kind of a hero Sloth is. So this one is definitely on my TBR for 2026. Now, I don't have any March releases, but at the start of April, we've got the new release by Devney Perry, which is Rights of the Starling. This is the sequel to Shield of Sparrows. I did enjoy Shield of Sparrows, but I was not such a fan like everyone was making it out to be. You know, the hype of that book was real in 2025. And I did enjoy it, but I had some critiques of it, specifically when it comes to the heroine. I was not a fan of hers. But then again, the ending made me intrigued enough to want to continue on with the series. So I'm definitely picking this up when it releases at some point in April. This, in the blurb, it said, a princess journey across a cursed realm to find the truth about her family, only to discover her quest intertwines with the fate of a lost warrior. Love, danger, and magic collide in this captivating romantasy sequel. So I think, yeah, I'm going to continue on and see whether I'm going to enjoy this one more than the first. And then also in April, we're getting the long anticipated sequel to When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. This one is going to be called The Ballad of Fallen Dragons, and it's releasing on April 28th, 2026. And honestly, I don't know. I think I may have to reread When the Moon Hatched because I have vague recollections of the overall plot, but I've lost so much of that book since I read it that I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to continue on without doing a reread, but it is a chunky book. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but let's wait out and see. Now, May 5th looks like it's going to be a big release day for Romantasies. I've got 3 of them lined up on my list. I've got 3 of them on my list alone, with the first one being Verity Guild by May Corland. It's releasing on May 5th, and what caught my eye is that it's advertised as The Traitors meets A Court of Silver Flames. I love both of these. So the format of The Traitors, the TV show, if you're not familiar with it, you should definitely check it out because it's so much fun. And then A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas, I loved as well. So this whole kind of setup is very intriguing to me. It says that it's a slow burn, enemies to lovers romance, fantasy romance with secrets, deception, and blood magic. Say no more, I'm sold. Next up, we've got Fury Bound, which is the sequel to Direbound by Sable Sorensen, again releasing on May 5th. So I've really enjoyed Direbound, and I'm very much looking forward to the second book, and I'm very happy that I picked it up at the tail end of 2025. So I think my memory of the book will be still fresh when the next book releases, so I can just immediately continue on. And like I mentioned, it's just an action-filled, a very kind of fast-paced and intriguing kind of a setup of a book. So I've talked about it before in my previous videos for wrap-ups of the year, and I'm just really looking forward to this one. Now, the next book releasing on May 5th is actually not a romantasy, but I decided to include it in this list because it's definitely an anticipated read of mine, and the previous books by this author were fantasy books. So I've decided to include it in this list instead of the contemporary releases. The book is The Last Contract of Hisako by Fonda Lee. This is actually a sci-fi adult space opera, which I'm looking forward to, and I hope there is an audio for this one because I think it's going to be great. And what I saw on Goodreads, it says, get ready to be blown away by this searing standalone space opera where corporate samurai fight beneath merciless stars and death is always a mere breath away. It's a standalone, which I love. And I'm just really looking forward to something by Fonda Lee. I mean, she did release this year a book together with Shannon Lee, which is getting a sequel. I'm going to talk about it a bit later in this video, but I'm just looking forward to something new by this author. I've really loved the Greenbone Saga trilogy, and yeah, I'm definitely going to be on the lookout for this release. On May 12th, we have Broken Dove coming out, which is the sequel to Silver Elite. This was a very hyped dystopian romantasy that came out this year. It's by Denny Francis. What I saw on Goodreads is that it says lines will be crossed, loyalties will be tested, and the fight for the continent is only just beginning as Ren Darlington finds herself caught in the middle of 2 wars, one for the fate of her home and another for the fate of her heart. I mean, all of these blurbs are like mini trailers of movies, you know, and you get kind of hyped up about picking these books up. So I'm very much intrigued by the sequel of Silver Elite. I really, really highly enjoyed it. I give it like 4.5 stars. So I'm very much looking forward to the sequel. Next up in May, we've got a release by Sarah Rash. I've read all of Sarah Rash's books by now, and I've really highly enjoyed all of them. They're really fun, banter-filled. The magic system in them is really kind of cute and fun. So the next release is going to be called The Fake Deviation Offense. It's going to release on May 19th. And it's a sports romance that has Dungeons and Dragons vibes, and there is this half giant orc who is going to be forced into a PR relationship with a feisty fan favorite cheerleader. And the cover is really cute. I've enjoyed all of the books by this author, so I'm very much looking forward to this one. Now for the next one, I have put it on my list because I'm definitely picking it up, but I do have to say that I've already forgotten a lot of the first book, even though I read it this year. The first book was Metal Slinger by Rachel Schneider, and the second book is coming out next year called Light Wielder. It's coming out on June 9th. And I may need to somehow refresh my memory. I don't want to do a full reread. I don't know if there is a booktuber who has done like an extensive spoiler-filled kind of review of this book. I might have to check it out before I jump into this one. But I want to continue on. I was intrigued by the first book. I think I gave it 4 stars. So I was planning on continuing on, but I just need to refresh my memory because I have very little recollection of it whatsoever. So I have put it on my list and I'm gonna see how I'm going to fare with picking it up. Now, one of my most anticipated releases of 2026 within the romantasy genre is the 4th book within the Kindred Curse saga by Pen Cole. This one is going to be called Burn of the Everflame. It's coming out on July 14th at least. This is what the date is announced as so far. It's been moved a couple of times over, so I really hope that we're going to get a July release. Otherwise, we're just gonna have to wait. I mean, there's not much we can do, but I really hope that we're gonna get it in 2026. And the way that book 3 ended has me reeling. I am so much looking forward to seeing how Diem is going to fare with her predicament, what Luther is going to do with them being split apart. I don't want to say too much about what has happened because obviously it's book 3 and book 4 within a series, so if you haven't read them yet, then I don't want to spoil anything for you. But there's a lot that has been going on in book 3 and I'm just very eager to find out what's going to happen to these characters. Now the next release is by Carissa Broadbent, and I have to be quite honest that I have not been keeping up with the Nyaxia World books. The last book that I read is the first book that follows up on The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. What was that book called? It was Misha's book. I don't remember, but it was like book 3 within the Nyaxia World. There's book 4 that I haven't picked up yet, and then book 5 is coming out in 2026. It's called The Lion and the Deathless Dark, and it's coming out on August 4th. And I mean, I need to read book 4 first. Book 3 was just not my favorite. I think I gave that one 3 stars. It was kind of lagging for me, kind of not progressing in the pace that I wanted, and the connection between the 2 characters was not my favorite. And that's why I probably have been putting off book 4. But I definitely want to continue on in the series because you never know, maybe book 4 is going to be my favorite. So I'm going to read book 4 because I do have the audio through Storytel. And then this one is coming out in 2026. So maybe I'm going to wait for kind of being closer to the August release date so I can kind of get them back to back read. We're going to wait out and see. Anyway, I'm going to read this one at some point. It's coming out in 2026, so it is an anticipated release for me. Now, another of my most anticipated releases is announced in October of 2026, and that is Coiled at the Roots by Scarlett Sinclair. This is the sequel to Terror at the Gates. Terror at the Gates was one of my favorite romantasies of 2025, so I'm desperately looking forward to continue on in the series, and I'm really hoping that the October 6th release date remains because it's 2 days shy of my birthday, so it's going to be a wonderful birthday gift for myself if it does release. So I'm very much looking forward to it. And then another release in October that I'm not really sure about. Honestly, anything that comes out after the summer or around the summertime is kind of questionable when it comes to the release dates because those can get moved if, you know, publishing kind of lags. So take the dates with a grain of salt. But currently we have an October release date for the sequel to the book by Fonda and Shannon Lee. The first book was Breath of the Dragon, which I very much enjoyed. It's a YA fantasy more so than a romantasy, but it's a fantasy book that I really enjoyed. And the second book is going to be called Mark of the Warrior. October 27th is the release date, and obviously we don't know too much about it because it's a sequel that is set to release in almost a year time, so we're going to get more details probably sometime soon. And then moving on to books that are announced as November releases. Again, we don't know if they're going to remain in that way. Let's hope so, because all of them are really anticipated releases for all of us romantasy girlies. The first one being the Fae and Alchemy book, book 3, that follows up Quicksilver and Brimstone by Callie Hart. This one currently is announced as a November 10th release with no details or cover yet. But I really highly enjoyed both books. Quicksilver and Brimstone were both 5-star reads for me, so I'm very much looking forward to book 3. And then the next one is by Mani Iru. It's book 3 within her series that started with Heavenly Bodies that I read this year and I really enjoyed. I'm going to read book 2 sometime in 2026, and probably I'm going to put it off for fall so that I can have my memory refreshed just before the next book releases. Book 3 is going to be called Holy Monsters. And we again don't have a cover yet. We don't have a synopsis, but that's all right. Let's just hope that it releases in November. Then I've got 3 more books that actually don't have a release date set, but the expectation, at least according to the posts that I've been seeing, is that they will release sometime in 2026. So I've put them on my list. The first one being the follow-up to The Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. I just recently read this book, the first one, and I highly enjoyed it. So we're going to get an Alchemy of Secrets book 2. And I'm wondering if it's going to focus on the same characters or maybe the main character's sister. I'm curious to see how that's going to go. And then we've got the next one being The Fox in Winter by Antonia Hodgson. This is going to be the sequel of The Raven Scholar. I read The Raven Scholar back in the summer of this year. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars and I'm looking forward to continue on in the series. So possibly it's going to release in 2026. Let's keep our fingers crossed. And then the last one that I just recently saw on Instagram, that someone mentioned that Kaylee Smith is releasing a 3rd book within her Phantasma world. So it's a follow-up to Phantasma and Enchantre, and it's going to be called Demonica. We don't have any cover, we don't have any details, we don't have a release date, but we have some hype behind this news. So I'm looking forward to see whether it's going to release in 2026. So we've got 20 plus books on my list, but if you head over to, like I mentioned, Jess and April's channels and check out what they have in their list, I'm sure that you're going to find even more books to add to your TBR for next year. I'm very much hopeful about 2026, that it's going to be an amazing reading year. I just have this kind of very positive feeling about it, that we're going to discover even more books to be happy and amazed by, and to just get more hype behind the right kinds of books, you know, books that really deserve to be hyped. I'm really going to be on the lookout for new to me authors, to discover more books by debut authors, and to just enjoy reading. I'm very much looking forward to see what your anticipated romantasy releases are, so please drop them down in the comments below. Please like this video if you stayed this far, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you tomorrow with my most anticipated contemporary romance releases of 2026. So see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Happy reading. Take care and